The surgical lamp clicks off with a satisfying finality. I peel away my latex gloves, dropping them into the biohazard bin as the veterinary tech wheels the golden retriever post-ACL, repair toward recovery. My shoulders ache in that deep, productive way that comes from 6 hours of delicate work. Dr. Patterson, you have some messages. Marina calls from the front desk as I emerge into the clinic's waiting area. I wave her off, too exhausted for anything but a hot shower and the leftover pad thai waiting in my fridge. Tomorrow, Marina. Unless someone's actively dying. She hesitates, her fingers hovering over the reception computer. It's personal. Your phone's been going off for the past hour. My stomach drops in that instinctive way it does when family and urgency collide. I grab my phone from my locker, the screen lighting up with 43 notifications. 43. I scroll past the usual appointment reminders. A text from my friend Derek about Thursday night trivia. Then I see it. A group text chain titled Victoria's Baby Shower Planning Committee. My thumb freezes mid-scroll. Victoria, my younger sister. The one I haven't spoken to in 3 weeks. Not since our mother's strained birthday dinner where I'd been seated at the opposite end of the table from everyone else. The first message is from my mother, Patricia. Ladies, excited to finalize details for Victoria's shower. Saturday, April 15th at the River Oaks Country Club, 2 p.m. sharp. My cousin Bethany can't wait. The pink and gold theme is going to be gorgeous. Aunt Linda ordered the custom cake. 3 tiers with little baby booties. I keep scrolling, my pulse accelerating. Photos of elaborate floral arrangements. Screenshots of catering menus. A mock-up of ivory invitations with Victoria's name embossed in rose gold script. Then I see it. The message that makes my breath catch. Bethany, guest list is finalized 68 confirmed. Even got Victoria's college roommate flying in from Seattle. My cousin Julia, amazing. So glad we're keeping this intimate and special. Just the people who really matter to Vic. Intimate, 68 people. I scroll frantically through every name mentioned, every tagged photo, every excited comment. Extended family I haven't seen since my grandfather's funeral. Victoria's sorority sisters. Our mother's bridge club. The woman who does Victoria's nails. Not once, not in 127 messages spanning 2 weeks, does my name appear. My phone buzzes in my hand. A new message from my mother in a separate thread. Samantha, I see you've been added to the shower chat. That was Bethany's mistake. You weren't supposed to see those messages. Please don't make this difficult. The clinical fluorescent lights of the veterinary clinic suddenly feel too bright. I lean against the wall, my surgical scrub still damp with sweat, staring at words that confirm what I already knew. I wasn't invited to my own sister's baby shower. Not overlooked. Not forgotten. Deliberately excluded. And my mother's first instinct wasn't to apologize, but to manage my reaction to being erased. I drive home on autopilot, my hand steady on the wheel despite the tremor in my chest. Austin traffic crawls along I-35, giving me too much time to think. Too much time to replay every family gathering where I felt like furniture present but unnoticed. My townhouse in East Austin welcomes me with silence. I adopted it 2 years ago after my divorce from Marcus, choosing the quirky neighborhood, specifically because it was 40 minutes from my mother's sprawling estate in Westlake Hills. Distance had seemed like protection then. Now I realize distance was just another form of exclusion I'd internalized. I pour myself a bourbon, the good stuff. I save for surgical victories and open my laptop. The baby shower planning committee messages sync automatically to my computer, displaying in brutal high definition across my screen. I scroll backward, searching for the origin point. There, March 3rd, 6 weeks ago. Patricia, Victoria wants to keep the shower small and stress-free. Let's create a planning committee. Just family who've been there through her journey. Through her journey, the phrase sits bitter on my tongue. I was there when Victoria got pregnant at 19 and Mom paid for the private clinic. I was there when she dropped out of Austin because college wasn't her vibe. I was there when she married Blake Hendricks, the trust fund heir whose family owns half of San Antonio's commercial real estate. I was there for all of it, writing checks and making excuses and covering her shifts at Dad's old accounting firm when she Couldn't be bothered to show up. My phone rings. Derek's name flashes on the screen. "Tell me you're not spiraling," he says without preamble. Derek's known me since veterinary school, understands my family dynamics better than anyone. I'm drinking bourbon at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. So, spiraling, I hear the clink of glass on his end. What happened? I explain about the group text, the accidental inclusion, my mother's damage control message. Derek listens without interrupting, one of his better qualities. "Sam," he says carefully when I finish, "what are you going to do?" The question hangs in the air. The old Samantha would call her mother, voice shaking, asking what she'd done wrong. The old Samantha would volunteer to help anyway, desperate to prove her worth. "Nothing," I hear myself say. The word tastes foreign, but right. "Nothing?" They don't want me there. I take another sip of bourbon. "So I won't be there." That's very mature and healthy. "And I'm proud of you, but also," Derek pauses. "Are you sure?" Because the Sam I know doesn't let things go this easily. Maybe she should start. We talk for another 20 minutes about nothing, his new boyfriend, the diabetic cat I'm treating, the restaurant opening downtown. When we hang up, the silence returns, but it feels different now. Less lonely, more like possibility. I silence my phone and don't check the messages again that night. The next morning brings clarity and a plan. The Austin Veterinary Clinic opens at 7 a.m., and I'm already in my office by 6:30. Coffee in hand, spreadsheet open on my computer. If my family has taught me anything, it's to document everything. I title the file, Financial History, Patterson Family. My fingers fly across the keyboard, pulling up bank statements I've kept meticulously organized. 10 years of transactions tell a story I've been too close to see clearly. Victoria's first abortion at 19, $800 I paid because Mom said it would destroy her future if it appeared on insurance. Victoria's credit card debt from her fashion blog phase, $6,400. I consolidated it onto my card with lower interest. The deposit on Victoria's first apartment when Blake was figuring out his trust fund access, $3,200. I keep scrolling, keep adding. The numbers climb with nauseating predictability. Victoria's car insurance after her third accident, $2,100 annual premium for 2 years. The photographer for Victoria and Blake's engagement photos, $1,500. Just a loan, Sam. We'll pay you back after the wedding. My door creaks open. Marina pokes her head in, concern etched across her face. "You okay, Doc?" "You've got that look." "What look?" "The one you get before you do. Something crazy." She sets a breakfast taco on my desk. Bean and cheese. My favorite from the truck down the street. "Talk to me." I rotate my laptop toward her. "What do you see?" Marina's eyes scan the spreadsheet, widening with each scroll. "Jesus, Sam, this is over $40,000. $43,600, I correct. Over 8 years. To a sister who didn't invite me to her baby shower. Marina whistles low. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet." I take a bite of taco, the familiar comfort grounding me. But I'm done pretending this is normal. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. "Samantha, we need to talk. Call me when you have a moment." I silence the phone without responding. "You're not calling her back?" Marina asks. "She can wait." I return my attention to the spreadsheet. For the first time in my life, whatever crisis they're manufacturing can wait. The morning passes in a blur of appointments. A Labrador with an ear infection. A nervous cat needing vaccinations. A bearded dragon with metabolic bone disease. The familiar rhythm of diagnosis and treatment centers me in a way family never has. During my lunch break, I receive an email from my mother with the subject line, "Please read important." I archive it without opening. Derek texts, "Lunch tomorrow? Want to make sure you're still breathing." "I'm breathing," I reply. Possibly for the first time in years. At 3 p.m., my father calls. I watch his name flash on my screen 5 times before the voicemail notification appears. I don't listen to it. Instead, I add one more line to my spreadsheet, the value of my peace of mind. That one I decide is priceless. Saturday, April 15th arrives with the kind of perfect Texas spring weather that makes tourists fall in love with Austin. I spend the morning at the clinic catching up on paperwork, Then head to Zilker Park with Derek for a run around Lady Bird Lake. You know what's happening right now, don't you? Derek asks as we stretch near the trail. My sister's baby shower. I pull my ankle to my hamstring, feeling the satisfying burn. River Oaks Country Club, 2 p.m. sharp. Pink and gold theme. And you're going for a run. I release my leg and start jogging. Then maybe getting tacos. Possibly seeing that new thriller at the Alamo Draft House. Derek catches up, matching my pace. I'm impressed and slightly concerned. Why concerned? Because you're too calm? Where's the anxiety? The guilt? The Samantha who would show up anyway with an expensive gift just to prove she's the bigger person? I think about this as we round the bend near the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue. She's tired, Derek. She's been proving herself for 34 years and finally realized no one's keeping score except her. My phone buzzes in my armband. I ignore it. It buzzes again and again. You going to check that? Derek asks. I pull out my phone. 7 missed calls from my mother, 3 from Aunt Linda, 2 from Victoria herself. Then I see the text from my cousin Julia, sent to the baby shower group chat. Emergency. Does anyone have Sam's address? We need her here now. My stomach tightens. Something's wrong. Derek reads over my shoulder. Don't. Whatever it is, they excluded you, remember? But I'm already scrolling through the messages, piecing together the crisis. Bethany, Blake's parents just announced they're getting divorced. At the shower, Mrs. Hendricks is screaming at Mr. Hendricks about his affair. Julia, Victoria's locked herself in the bathroom. She's hyperventilating. Aunt Linda, the whole thing is a disaster. Country club manager asked us to leave. And then my mother's text directly to me. Samantha, your sister needs you. Family emergency. Please come immediately. I stand frozen on the running trail, joggers weaving around us. The old instinct surges, drop everything, fix the crisis, be the reliable one. Derek's hand on my shoulder anchors me. Sam, you don't have to. She's my sister. Who didn't invite you to her baby shower? His voice is gentle but firm. Who took $43,000 from you? Who let your family erase you from this entire event? I look at my phone, at the desperate messages piling up. At my mother's words, your sister needs you. Not we're sorry. Not we made a mistake. Just she needs you. I type one word, no. Hit send. Turn off my phone. Let's finish this run, I tell Derek, that I really do want those tacos. The voicemails start accumulating the moment I turn my phone back on that evening. 17 in total. I don't listen to any of them, but I can see the durations. My mother's longest is 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Instead, I pour myself wine and order Thai food delivery, settling onto my couch with the new thriller novel I've been saving. My phone rings 3 more times. I silence it each time. At 8 p.m., someone pounds on my front door. Through the peephole, I see my father's weathered face. Russell Patterson, the man who taught me to play chess and balance checkbooks, who never raised his voice but somehow always backed my mother's decisions. I open the door but don't invite him in. Sam, his voice cracks slightly. Why didn't you come? I wasn't invited, Dad. That's not Victoria needed you. She had a panic attack. We had to call an ambulance. The guilt hooks into my chest, sharp and familiar. Is she okay? She's fine. The baby's fine. But she kept asking for you. He looks older than his 62 years. His shoulders slumped with defeat. Why would you abandon her like that? The word abandon snaps something inside me. I'd like you to leave, I say calmly. Samantha. No, I step back, my hand on the door. You don't get to show up at my home and accuse me of abandonment. Not when your wife deliberately excluded me from my sister's baby shower. Not when none of you noticed or cared that. I wasn't there until you needed something fixed. That's not fair. Fair? I laugh, the sound harsh in my quiet entryway. Dad, when was the last time you asked how I was doing? Not in a housework way. Actually asked if I'm okay. He opens his mouth, closes it. Can't answer. Victoria had a panic attack because Blake's parents are divorcing. That's terrible. I'm genuinely sorry she's going through that. I meet his eyes. But I'm not sorry I wasn't there, because I shouldn't have to earn my place in this family by fixing every crisis. Your mother didn't mean to exclude you. I pull out my phone, opening the text thread with Patricia. Read aloud. You weren't supposed to see those messages. Please don't make this difficult. I look up at him. That's not an accidental exclusion. Dad, that's deliberate erasure followed by damage control. He flinches. I need you to leave, I repeat, and tell Mom that if she wants to talk, she can come herself. Not send you. Not guilt trip me through intermediaries. She can face me directly. After he leaves, I lean against the closed door, my heart racing. The old Samantha would already be in her car, driving to San Antonio to check on Victoria. The new Samantha orders extra spring rolls and doesn't feel guilty about it. Monday morning brings a certified letter. I sign for it during my lunch break, opening it on my desk while eating a salad. It's from my mother's attorney. My hands go numb as I skim the legal letterhead. The formal language, the CC to Russell Patterson, Victoria Patterson Hendricks. Dear Dr. Patterson, I am writing on behalf of my client, Mrs. Patricia Patterson, regarding the matter of the Patterson Family Trust, established by your late grandfather, James Patterson. I set down my fork, no longer hungry. The letter goes on to explain that my grandfather's trust, the one I barely thought about since his death 12 years ago, has matured. There's money, significant money, and my mother, as executor, has been managing the distributions. My portion, according to the trust documents attached, $175,000, money I never received. The letter concludes with legalese about reconciling discrepancies and informal family loans and suggests I contact their office to resolve this matter amicably. I read it 3 times, each pass making my hands shake harder. Marina finds me 20 minutes later, still staring at the papers. Doc, your 2 o'clock is here. She stops. What happened? I slide the letter across my desk. Watch her expression transform from concern to fury. They stole from you, she says flatly. Your own mother stole your inheritance. The letter says informal loans. Informal loans require consent. Marina's voice is steel. Did you consent to loaning your family $175,000? I shake my head numb. Then it's theft. She pulls out her phone. My brother's a lawyer. You're calling him right now. Marina. Now, Sam. 2 hours later, I'm sitting in Brandon Chun's office in downtown Austin. He's younger than I expected, maybe 30, with sharp eyes that miss nothing as I walk him through the timeline. The baby shower exclusion, the $43,000 in documented loans. Now this my inheritance, gone, with my mother's attorney trying to frame it as some kind of family arrangement. Brandon makes notes on his tablet, his expression darkening. Do you have the original trust documents? I never saw them. Grandfather died when I was 22. Mom said everything was handled. I'll need to subpoena those. He looks up. Dr. Patterson, Sam, I have to ask. What's your goal here? Recover the money? Criminal charges? Family reconciliation? I think about my father on my doorstep, accusing me of abandonment. My mother's text. Please don't make this difficult. Victoria's panic attack that I was expected to fix despite not being invited to her shower. I want every dollar accounted for, I say. Every informal loan, every trust distribution, everything. I want documentation. And then I want them to leave me alone. Brandon nods slowly. I can make that happen. When I leave his office, the Austin skyline is painted gold with sunset. I feel lighter than I have in years. The deposition is scheduled for 3 weeks later at Brandon's office. I arrive early, wearing my most professional blazer and the pearl earrings my grandmother gave me before she died. Armor of respectability. My mother appears with her attorney, Gerald Whitmore, who probably charges $500 an hour to make wealthy people's problems disappear. Patricia's dressed immaculately in cream linen, her silver hair styled perfectly. She doesn't meet my eyes. My father and Victoria aren't here. Brandon had insisted we start with Patricia alone. We settle into the conference room, a court reporter positioned at the head of the table. Brandon begins with procedural questions, Patricia's name, her role as executor, the trust establishment date. Then he slides a document across the table. Mrs. Patterson, can you identify this? Patricia's composure cracks slightly. It's the trust distribution record. And can you tell us what it shows? She glances at her attorney, who nods. It shows the distributions made to my daughters. Both daughters? Yes. Brandon produces another document. This is Dr. Patterson's bank statement history covering the past 12 years. Can you point to any deposit matching the trust distribution amount? Silence. Mrs. Patterson? The money was used for family expenses, she says, her voice tight. Samantha was aware. I was not aware. My voice cuts through the room, sharp and clear. I was never told about this trust distribution. Never asked permission to use my inheritance for family expenses. Never informed of any of this until your attorney's letter 3 weeks ago. Patricia's mask slips further. You were always so independent. You had your career, your veterinary practice. Victoria needed. Victoria's trust distribution shows here as $175,000. Same as mine, Brandon interrupts. Did Victoria receive her full amount? Another silence. Mrs. Patterson, did your younger daughter receive her full inheritance? Yes, Patricia whispers. But Dr. Patterson did not? The family needed. That's not the question. Brandon's voice remains calm but implacable. Did Dr. Patterson receive her full inheritance distribution of $175,000 as stipulated in the trust? No. The word hangs in the air like smoke. Brandon continues, methodical and relentless. Can you explain where Dr. Patterson's inheritance money went? The list that emerges over the next hour is devastating. Victoria's wedding, $42,000. Remodeling my parents. Kitchen, $38,000. Victoria's. SUV, $31,000. Various. Family emergencies, $64,000. Not $1 spent on me or with my knowledge. When the deposition ends, I walk out into the bright Texas afternoon feeling both vindicated and hollow. Brandon catches up with me on the sidewalk. We have everything we need, he says. Criminal charges are an option, or we can negotiate a settlement. I watch my mother's car pull away, her face visible through the window. She looks smaller somehow, diminished. Settlement, I say. I want my money back and I want them out of my life. The settlement takes 6 weeks to finalize. My mother agrees to repay the full $175,000 in monthly installments of $5,000 over 3 years. The $43,000 in previous loans is written off as a separate debt she acknowledges but cannot repay. I don't care about that money anymore. I care about the paper trail, the legal documentation that proves I'm not crazy, not dramatic, not imagining things. Victoria sends one text during this period. You're destroying our family over money. I don't respond. My father calls twice. I let both go to voicemail. In the second message, he says, your mother's devastated. I hope you're happy. I delete it without finishing. The first $5,000 payment arrives exactly on schedule. I transfer it directly into a retirement account and don't think about it again. 18 months later, I'm closing up the clinic on a Friday evening when Marina hands me a pink envelope. This came for you. Looks fancy. Inside is a birth announcement. Victoria and Blake welcome baby Charlotte Rose Hendricks. Born April 3rd, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. There's a handwritten note on the back in Victoria's looping script. She's beautiful, Sam. I wish you could meet her. I'm sorry for everything. I trace my finger over my niece's tiny printed footprint, feeling something complex and bittersweet. Derek appears in my office doorway, reading my expression. That the baby announcement? Yeah. You going to respond? I think about the past year and a half. The therapy sessions where I unpack decades of being the family fixer. The freedom of weekends without obligation. The lightness of no longer carrying everyone else's problems. Maybe eventually, I say, but not now. Not until I'm sure I can do it without falling back into old patterns. Derek nods, understanding. Want to grab dinner? That new sushi place opened downtown. Actually, I pull out my phone, opening my photos. I'm meeting someone. Second date. His eyebrows shoot up. Sam Patterson dating? Who is this mystery woman? Her name's Rachel. She's a wildlife rehabilitator. We met at that fundraiser last month. I feel myself smiling. She doesn't know anything about my family drama. It's refreshing. Good for you. Derek's grin is genuine. You deserve someone who doesn't know the Patterson family saga. That evening, sitting across from Rachel at a bistro on South Congress, I realize I'm not waiting for my phone to ring. Not bracing for the next crisis. not wondering if I should have handled things differently. For the first time in my life, I'm simply present in my own moment. Rachel tells me about the injured hawk she's rehabilitating. I tell her about the three-legged cat I operated on last week. We share dessert and laugh about our shared love of terrible reality TV. When I get home, Charlotte's announcement is still on my counter. I prop it on my bookshelf next to a photo of my grandmother, the only family member who ever saw me clearly. Maybe someday I tell the tiny footprint, but today I choose me, and that feels like victory. 2 years after the settlement began, I receive a text from my father. I almost don't open it. Sam, your mother's in the hospital. Heart attack. She's stable, but the doctors say the next 48 hours are critical. I thought you should know. I stare at the message for 10 minutes, my thumb hovering over the delete button. Then I forward it to Derek. His response comes immediately. What do you need? I don't know. Rachel finds me on my porch that evening, wine glass in hand, watching the sunset paint East Austin in shades of amber and rose. She sits beside me without speaking, her presence a quiet anchor. My mom's in the hospital, I say finally. Heart attack. Are you going? The question sits heavy between us. Rachel knows some of my history, not all, but enough. Part of me thinks I should, I admit. She's still my mother. But another part remembers sitting in that deposition, listening to her lawyer try to justify stealing my inheritance. Remembers that baby shower I wasn't invited to. The $43,000 in loans that were never loans. Rachel takes my hand. You don't owe anyone your presence at their deathbed just because you shared DNA. Is that cold? It's honest. She squeezes my fingers. What do you want to do? I think about this. Really think about it. I want to send flowers, I say slowly. Something nice, but not extravagant. And a card that says, I don't know. Wishing you a full recovery, something true but boundaried. Rachel nods. That sounds perfect. The flowers are delivered the next morning, a modest arrangement of white lilac and blue hydrangeas. The card reads, hoping for your recovery. Samantha. My father texts a photo of them beside Patricia's hospital bed. She cried when these arrived. Thank you. I don't respond. 3 days later, Patricia's discharged. She need cardiac rehab and lifestyle changes, but she survived. Victoria texts, Mom wants to see you. Me, I'm glad she's recovering. Victoria, that's it? After everything, you can't even visit? Me, I sent flowers. That's all I can offer right now. The messages stop. 6 months later, I'm at my clinic when Marina buzzes my office. Doc, there's someone here to see you. Says she's your sister. My stomach clenches, but I tell Marina to send her back. Victoria looks different, older, tired. She's carrying baby. Charlotte on her hip, and there's a humility in her posture I've never seen before. I'm not here to ask for anything, she says before I can speak. I just wanted you to meet your niece. I look at Charlotte, now almost 2, with Victoria's dark curls and curious eyes. She reaches for me, an instinct makes me take her. She's beautiful, I whisper, and mean it. Blake and I are in therapy, Victoria says quietly, working through a lot, including how we treat family. She pauses. I'm sorry, Sam, for everything. I don't expect forgiveness, but you deserve to hear that. I hold my niece, feeling her warm weight against my chest. Thank you. We don't hug. Don't make plans for future visits. But when Victoria leaves 45 minutes later, something has shifted not back to how it was, but towards something new. That evening, Rachel asks how it went. Honestly, it was okay, I say, surprised by how true it is. We're not fixed, but maybe we're not completely broken either, and that's enough. I think about boundaries and healing, about choosing myself without cruelty, about the long, slow work of rebuilding. Yeah, I say, that's enough.